Hi, good day. Welcome again to our class, Chemistry 100B Laboratory. Before we're going to proceed discussing with the safety precautions when working in the laboratory, let me introduce to you our laboratory assistants. They are here for us in order to help you when you are going to work in the laboratory. So let us call them one by one and we will introduce them to you. First, we have Ma'am Judith Roman.
Hi.
We have also student assistants in the person of Mr. Renz Leovido.
Hello.
And we have also Miss Jen Leslie Arise.
Hi.
Now, if you need your help when you work in the laboratory, feel free to call these people. They are here at your service. Okay. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Renz. Thank you, Jen. So let us continue discussing the safety precautions when working in the laboratory. So take out again the copies of your laboratory manual and let's go to letter C, safety precautions during an experiment. Number 1, do not look down into a test tube, beaker or flask that contains chemicals while a reaction occurs. Hold it up to the light and look at it from the side. Do not point the open end of the test tube at a person while a reaction occurs. So what do we mean by that? Say for example, when we are going to have a reaction in a test tube, and once the reaction is there are reactions that emit vapors such that these vapors may be hazardous or harmful. So, do not look on the test tube this way. Instead, hold it against the light and look at the reaction like this. Number 2, when placing chemicals in a test tube, first place the test tube in a test tube rack. So you're going to get the test tube rack. This is our test tube rack. Place the test tube into the test tube rack and get the reagent from the reagent bottle. Then put it into the test tube. This way. When heating liquids in a test tube, hold it at an angle and place it over the Bunsen flame, then bring it back and forth over the flame and see to it that you are heating first the upper part of the liquid without heating the empty part. So, do it this way. Heat the upper part first of the liquid, then bring it back and forth over the flame until the water boils. The open end of the test tube should not point to anybody, should not be pointed to the teacher, should not be pointed to your classmates. It must be pointed towards nobody because there is a tendency that the liquid inside the test tube might spurt out and cause harm. When instructed to smell the odor of a substance, hold the container away from you. Move your hand over the test tube to fan the vapor toward your nose. So, you should do it this way. Suppose there is already the vapor that is issued out from this substance, and you want to know the smell or the odor of that vapor, you have to place this test tube away from you, about an arm length away, then fan the vapor toward your nose, this way. Do not do it this way. Number 6. Procedures that will produce dangerous or foul-smelling fumes should be performed in the fume hood. We have the fume hood over there. Okay. Number 7. Before using the glasswares, check for cracks. Now, after getting the apparatus from the counter, you are going to check them before using them. For example, the beaker. This is a very common apparatus that you're going to use in every activity. So you check for cracks first. Now, if you can find cracks, you are going to return this to the counter and have it replaced. Because after using them, and if you were not able to find a crack, and when you return them, you will be charged for breakage. So, see to it that when you are going to receive all the apparatus that you borrowed from the counter, check for cracks. Number 8. Hold hot glasswares with crucible tongs or test tube holders. This is what we call the crucible tongue. And this is the test tube holder. Now, suppose you have been hitting something into this crucible, and once that crucible is already hot, you have to hold it with a crucible tongue this way. Okay? This is to hold hot objects like the crucible. Or when you are holding a test tube, you have to hold it with a test tube holder this way. When you hold a test tube holder, hold it at the end. Do not hold it at the shoulders this way. Hold it this way. Number 9. When inserting glass tubing through a hole in a stopper, first lubricate the glass tubing with glycerol or water. Hold the lubricated glass tubing wrapped in a towel before inserting it through a hole in a stopper. Then push it through the stopper with a twisting motion. So do it this way. You are going to wet the glass tube with water, and once wet, then insert the wet glass tubing through the cork in a twisting manner. So you have already inserted the glass tubing through the cork. Number 10. Turn off burners when not in use. So how do you turn off the burner? So when the position of the gas cock is parallel to the tube, this means that the gas flows through the glass tubing then to the Bunsen burner. Now, in closing the gas cock, you are going to position it such that the cock will be perpendicular to the tube. So you are assured that the gas stops its flow. So let's go to fire safety. Okay, number 1. Fires in the chemistry laboratory may be caused by some chemical reactions, electrical faults, gas leakage, and poor laboratory procedures. So when we say electrical faults, be familiar with, you have on your table, your working area, you have there electrical outlets. Okay? Then you have the gas cocks. These are sources of fires in the laboratory. Number 2, be familiar with the location of water and gas outlets and fire exits. Now, the location of our water outlet is there. For the gas outlet, we have it there. And we have 2 doors in this laboratory room where you can exit in case there is fire. Number 3, know where to find and use fire extinguishers, first aid kits, fire blankets, and buckets in case of fire or injury. For the fire extinguisher, we have it there. For fire blankets and buckets, they are placed inside the counter. Number 4, smother small fires with wet towel or sand. If it fails, use the fire extinguisher. So for example, in case there is a small fire that occurs, you just smother it with a sand. So you put the sand like this. But in case the fire will not be put off, use the fire extinguisher. Okay. Number 5. If your clothes catch fires, do not run. Cover yourself with a wet blanket or roll onto the floor. Number 6. If a person's clothes have caught fire, lay the person down, roll the person over, and smother the flames with a fire blanket. Number 7. Do not play with the electrical sockets, gas fittings, or flammable chemicals in the laboratory. They can be very dangerous. Number 8. Completely extinguish matches after use and place them in a non-flammable container. Do not throw matches into the waste basket. Suppose, when you are going to ignite the Bunsen burner and you have already done igniting it, this tip of the matchstick should be placed onto the sandbox. Number 9. Apparatus used in heating should be allowed to cool before washing or storing them. So, let's say for example, you have been heating this flask. You have been heating the liquid inside this flask. Now, before you are going to wash this, you have to cool this first by placing this onto a wire gauze. Now, once that flask is already cold, then it is ready to be washed with cold water or with tap water. Number 10. Hot objects should not be placed directly on bench tops, paper, or other flammable substances. A cool gauze mat should be used, like this. Letter E. Precautions about acids and bases. Number 1. When making dilute acids, slowly add acid to water, not the other way around. So, what are you going to remember in here? Acid to water. So, remember, alpha to omega. So, A to W. So, when you're going to dilute the acid, do it this way. Suppose you are going to dilute an acid. You have to place the water into the test tube. Place it into the test tube rack and pour the acid into the test tube with water. So remember, it must be the acid to the water. Do not do the reverse. Number 2. Only the laboratory instructor or the laboratory technician may handle concentrated acids or strong bases. Number 3. Listen to your laboratory instructor for proper first aid procedures in dealing with accidents while working with chemicals, such as getting them into your eyes or on your skin. Now, if in case you're spilled with an acid onto your skin or splashed with the acid onto the eyes, you have to tell me immediately so that I can help you what to do. But while you are still there in your working area, you have to run down that affected area with the tap water from the faucet. Let only the water flow through that area. Do not rub it with your hands. Suppose this is the affected area. Then you have to wash it with water like this. Just let the water flow through the affected area. Do not rub the affected area. Number 4. Wear protected goggles or safety goggles to protect the eyes when handling concentrated acids. For example, if you're going to transfer an acid from one container to the other, like this one, you have to wear these goggles. Then you pour the acid onto the other container. Why do you have to wear the goggles? Because most of the acids will emit fumes, and the fumes can be harmful to the eyes. Okay. Number 5. When dilute acids and bases are spilled on the skin or in the eyes, immediately wash the eyes or skin with plenty of water, as I have shown you a while ago. Strong acids and bases can cause burns. Weak acids can cause burns if they are left in contact with the skin. So if your eyes are splashed with the acid or the base, we have to go to our eye wash area. So this is our eye wash area. So you have to use this in washing the affected eyes. This way. Number 6. Report all injuries to your laboratory teacher, no matter how small it is. So you have to tell me whether it's a small injury so that I can help you. Let's go to letter F on disposal and cleanup. Number 1. Note carefully the method of disposing chemicals in each activity and follow directions given by your instructor. So you cannot just dispose any of the chemicals onto the sink. You have to ask me whether they are appropriate to be poured into the sink, or I have to collect them through a receptacle. Number 2. Throw insoluble wastes such as paper or broken glass, into the waste basket. In this laboratory room, you are provided with a waste basket placed there in the corner. So, the waste paper and all solid waste that you produce after performing the experiment, they will be thrown into the waste basket. Number 3, do not return excess chemicals back to their containers. So in cases wherein you have excess chemicals or reagents that you have taken from the counter, do not ever return them to the reagent bottles. You are going to throw them to the sink and run down these chemicals with plenty of water. Number 4, clean up spills immediately, even if they are just water, to prevent accidents. So, in cases wherein you spill something onto the floor, like any reagent or chemicals, or even the water you spill onto the floor, please clean it up immediately because that could cause danger. Number 5, before you leave the laboratory, clean out the equipment you have used. So you have to wash them, then wipe them dry so that they are ready to be returned to the counter. Next, wipe your working area clean and dry too. Next, check that the water and gas outlets are closed. Okay, you have here the faucet and the gas outlets. See to it that they are closed. Then, make sure that all your apparatus and materials are kept in the respective storage places. Then, lastly, place your stool under the table. But I would like to remind you that while performing in the laboratory, you are not expected to sit down. You have to stand until the whole activity is done. That would be all for today. This is your teacher, Professor Visitas Ruiz, saying, God bless and see you next meeting.